Do it. Do it. I'll suck it down. Back in the day, there used to be games other than Battle Royale games. This was a time in Western society where things like smiling was a common practice, but obviously, those times didn't last. So, where did Battle Royales come from? The short answer is that they were kind of inevitable because of Minecraft and Jennifer Lawrence. They were gonna happen. With open world survival games like Minecraft, H1Z1, Rust, DayZ, etc., laying the groundwork for the Battle Royale maps and mechanics, with the Hunger Games exploding in popularity, and with Jennifer Lawrence existing, they were gonna happen. We got Minecraft in 2011, the Hunger Games in 2012, and shortly after we got the Minecraft Hunger Games thing, and then 3 years after that, in 2015, we got the first actual Battle Royale by the name of H1Z1 King of the Kill. And then life from there just started getting worse. I don't hate Battle Royale games. I used to love them. I think I played them way too early and way too often. I've played like all of them. I've played all of them for more than 100 hours each. I have 600 hours in Fortnite. I have 600 hours in Fortnite. My only real issue with the Battle Royale genre is I like the games that they were based on more. The open world survival games were and still are some of my favorite games of all time. I loved games like Minecraft, Terraria, H1Z1, Don't Look at Me Like That, You Little Bitch. And more recently, I've gotten into games like Subnautica, kinda recently, and Sea of Thieves, also kinda recently. Both of those games make it into my top 10 games of all time list. The problem is, these type of games, not so much Sea of Thieves and Subnautica, kinda, but the genre of open world survival games sort of shot themselves in the foot. These games started the never-ending early access hellscape that we all joyfully inhabit today. A lot of them were unfinished, buggy shit shows with no real goal or ending, and the developers had a huge audience on their hands with these types of games and just didn't know what to fucking do with them. The genre was barely holding itself together by like 2016, so you can forget about any mind-blowing innovations happening after that point. The genre stagnated hard, and then Battle Royales came in, drugged the genre behind a barn, and shot it like a cow. Do they shoot cows? I don't know if they shoot. That seems like an animal you would shoot. And I sort of shot the fuck. I sort of thought the genre was dead, much like a cow. But I was wrong. I realized this when I played Subnautica, and I realized how wrong I was. Subnautica is a very weird game in this genre because it's an open world survival game that was finished. Fucking crazy. It had a really good story, and also, as someone with an unbridled fear of open water, it almost made me cry. So this is one of my favorite games of all time, but if I'm honest, it really didn't innovate the gameplay formula of the open world survival game that much. It basically just did what every other open world survival game did at the time, except they put an actual story in it, they finished it, and set it underwater. To make me cry. But other than that, it was sort of kinda your standard Minecraft-like survival game that could have came out in early access in 2013. I, at this point, was just sort of taken for granted that this genre was never going to innovate, at least not until Minecraft innovated. It seemed like nobody wanted to do anything that Minecraft wasn't already doing to some extent. Nobody wanted to add a different progression system that Minecraft didn't have. Nobody wanted to be the first to change Minecraft's open world survival game formula. Nobody wanted to innovate or improve this genre in any meaningful way. It's 2023, and these games have basically all been the exact same since 2011, and I just sort of took for granted that this is all the genre was ever gonna be, just a never-ending whirlpool of stagnation and mediocrity. And then I played Grounded. I made an intro. Oh. I'm sorry I look like this. I'm gonna put the mic over here so you can see me. You see me? You think I'm pretty? At first, I thought Grounded was just gonna be another interesting for 15 minutes before you run out of shit to do open world survival game with no ending. It didn't help that the first time I played this game was with a buddy when this game was still, and say it with me, early access. When we started playing this game, we had no idea this game even had a story. We just thought it was going to be another punch tree, build base, fight bug, uninstall type of game, and then the tree exploded. After getting shit on by the wolf spiders, building a base in a dilapidated shithole, and then getting shit on by the wolf spiders again, but at night this time inside of a dilapidated shithole, we pressed the button. When we pressed the button, 3 lasers came on, and 2 of the lasers were blocked, and you were tasked with turning them back on. And to do that, you had to cut down blades of grass with an axe, and you had to kill a bunch of these nightmares. Whoever coded these little bastards in the game needs his or her ass beat. Lasers turn back on once you do both of these things, and me and my buddy, being the jaded, depressed, ugly, late 20-year-old gamers that we were like, neat! At least this game added a tutorial, but it wasn't a tutorial. Well, it was a tutorial. It taught you how to cut grass and then move objects with your mind through the power of unyielding fucking anger. God damn it, I hate you. I hate you. But it wasn't just a tutorial. It was a story. It was the start of a story, and it was the start of a honest to God good story, which that was a thing we haven't seen in the genre since Subnautica, which was already at that point in time one of my favorite games of all time. But we didn't even realize that it was a story yet, not until we pushed the button which exploded the tree. Once you explode the tree, you get launched into the story, and I won't spoil much about the story past this point, so just know it's really good. You just play it. They do the thing where you find little recordings all over the place for bits of lore and shit, which feels significantly better in this type of game rather than games like BioShock Infinite. I know that BioShock Infinite's older than Joe Biden's butt cheeks, but it's the only other game I can think of off the top of my head that does this, so bear with me. I like finding these little tapes in Grounded a lot better than in BioShock Infinite, because in Grounded, you were actually a little explorer, whereas in BioShock Infinite, they just kind of funnel you down a series of long hallways, and you press A when something glows, and then you pick up the lore that doesn't make any fucking sense in that game. Grounded just gives you a whole world and says, have at it. Be a little explorer. In Grounded, you can go to the end game area as soon as you spawn. You'll get your ass beat, but I mean, you can do it, and that's mainly what I'm going to be focused on in this video, the exploration, gameplay, and progression system in Grounded, because I want you to experience the story for yourself. I don't want to spoil the story, and the story isn't what was actually innovative in Grounded. Like, the story was better in Subnautica, in my opinion, but the story in Grounded was great. And I'm glad they actually had one in this genre and finished it. Multiple endings, everything. Do it, play the game. But it's the gameplay that made this game special to me. It's what made this game stand out. This game is Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring, but mostly Breath of the Wild. If Breath of the Wild fucked Minecraft. See, in Breath of the Wild, in my opinion, the best thing about it was that you could just explore. You could roam around, see something in the distance and be like, I'm gonna go there, and then you go there, which is It's what Skyrim was advertised to be like, but then what our Todd the Father left out was that once you got there, there was a 6'7" Demon King ripped out of his goddamn mind that was 100,000 levels above you, just waiting to turn your butthole inside out once you got there. That wasn't necessarily the case in Breath of the Wild, and that's what I didn't like about Skyrim. You could actually go anywhere, and you progress through big, unique dungeons to get power-ups and move the story along in Breath of the Wild. Just like in Elden Ring, where you could actually go anywhere and progress through big, unique dungeons to get power-ups and move the story along. And you can actually go anywhere in Grounded, and you progress through big, unique dungeons to get power-ups and move the story along. These games are all pretty fucking similar, and I'm loving this new age. It's an old design principle of letting you go anywhere and just explore, like the first Zelda did it, and Pokemon did it, where you can just go anywhere. They were more so linear, but it was based off of the design principle was based off of exploration. I'm so glad games like Grounded, Elden Ring, and Breath of the Wild are starting to like really gain traction, so that way we can stop getting the Last of Us games that are riddled with linear design principles, a shit ton of cutscenes, and crafting in every game. I know there's crafting in Grounded. I don't know why it bothers me in The Last of Us. It just did. Sorry, I got lost there. The main difference between these games is that they have different technical progression systems. In Elden Ring, you have weapon upgrades and character stat upgrades. In Breath of the Wild, you have a different kind of weapon upgrades, power-ups, and character upgrades. In Grounded, you have weapon upgrades, mutation, and science. And that's where the real innovation happens in Grounded. Let's start with the weapon upgrades. And I wrote this, so I'm gonna read it like I fucking wrote it. Before we hop into this section, I just wanted to say that I was drinking when I wrote from this part of the script onward. Like, I'm still reading the script right now. This is Buzzed Rider Mouse talking to both the audience and future Sober Mouse. I felt like I needed to give everybody a warning because I've never drank and wrote a script before. Hopefully one day, I'll wonder what it's like to write a script sober. Now, back to the video. Starting with the weapon upgrade system because they have the least amount of innovation to them in my opinion, but I very much so appreciate the design. In Minecraft, you get your tools from the environment that's filled with enemies, and the better the tool, the more dangerous the enemies and environment is. For coal and iron, you get creepers and skellies and shit. For diamonds, you get creepers and skellies and shit, but only when you're hovering above a 200,000 foot drop into a bed of flesh melting lava. For netherite, you get stress headaches, but in Grounded, you get your tools from the enemies that make the environment unbearable. And I have mixed feelings about this. In Grounded, you get your weapons and upgrades from the mobs that spawn around the world. Your early game equipment will be made up of things you just find on the ground, like weeds and little pebbles. But if you want better equipment, you gotta kill some bugs. If you want a better weapon, you gotta kill some ants to get it. If you want a gas mask, you gotta kill a stink bug to get it. And I have mixed feelings about this. This system encourages the player to engage in the shockingly good combat in this game, but on the other hand, you have to get the shit you need to kill a bug from the bug that you kill. For example, it is extremely hard to kill a stink bug without a gas mask. So what do you have to do to get a gas mask? You gotta kill a stink bug. It is extremely hard to kill ants with base level gear. So what do you have to do to get next level gear? Kill ants. You see the issue. I'm hoping you can feel the amount of forehead rubbing I did during this game through the screen right now. And this progression system goes through the entire game. You get too hot in the sandbox, you have to kill a bunch of shit in the sandbox to fix that. Your character is useless underwater, well, you gotta kill a bunch of shit underwater to fix that. So I'm split on whether or not I like this system or not, because the system really forces the player to interact with the combat system in ways you probably normally wouldn't if this were an easier game. But also, early game stink bugs made me want to suck start a shotgun, so I'm mixed on this. The good news is I'm 50-50 on this mechanic, and I only have one other actual complaint about this game that I can think of, which is crazy, because I bitch so much. Like, there's a saying that goes like, if you put 10,000 hours into anything, then you'll be a master at it. And if that's true, I've got a black belt in bitching. Next up, since I can't think of a segue out of the spiral that we're in, we're going to be talking about science and mutations. This here, the shit. Like, the shit. This is where the innovation happened. The mutations and leveling up system in this game is just, I mean, fucking Ratatouille chef's kiss. See, this game's progression system does something different than every other game's progression system does. It rewards you for playing the game how you want to play it. Mutations are basically perks. Not those, these. Like from Call of Duty. In COD, you had perks like sleight of hand that let you reload faster. In Grounded, you have perks that let you cut down grass faster, run faster, jump higher, fire a bow faster, and all sorts of shit like that. And the way that you unlock these perks is by playing the game the way you would normally play it. You unlock better axe cutting perks by axe cutting. You unlock better archery perks by using archery. You unlock movement perks by moving a whole bunch. You don't have to play this game in a weird way just to unlock these things. In Elden Ring, I actually wasn't a huge fan of having to like leave the main gameplay loop, and find a mine somewhere just to find rocks to upgrade my stupid fucking sword. It took me out of the gameplay. All I wanted to do was explore and fight, but Miyazaki kept putting me back into the fucking mines to upgrade everything. Grounded doesn't do that. Every perk you unlock for your character is shit that your character should be good at doing at this point because you, the player, have spent so much time doing it. I spent so much time running in this game that by the end of the game, I might as well have been the fucking Flash. By the end of the game, I was chopping down grass and just in one fell swoop with my axe. And this applies to all aspects of the game that your character traverses. You don't have to choose between swords or bows and arrows because as long as you do both of them, your character will get good at it by unlocking mutations intuitively and naturally as you progress through the game. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I think it's fucking sick. Also, the same goes with the mechanic I was talking about earlier, the science. So what the science mechanic is whenever you discover something in the world that you haven't seen before, you take it to a lab and you scan it. When you scan it, you get rewarded with and then you unlock all kinds of shit based off of whatever you scan. For example, if you want to build a rock axe, you scan the rock and then there you go. Mind-blowing stuff. What this mechanic really encourages is exploration and discovery. Nothing about this game actually felt grindy. There were definitely some tedious resources to get, but I never felt like I was just toiling in the mines like I did in Elden Ring. I was just traversing the world and exploring, and with mutations, I didn't have to grind at all, which is wild because normally games like this are just riddled with grind. Strip mining is an actual thing that people in Minecraft do, by the way. It's not a joke. People get off of school or work and go home and do this for hours to find shit. This is the grindy type of shit that I'm talking about, and the echoes of this abomination can be heard well into most other games in this genre, but not Grounded, which is a huge reason as to why I loved Grounded a lot. Lots. I like it a lot. I will definitely be replaying this game like pretty soon. The only honest to God thing I really have to complain about in this game is the lack of traversal mechanics. The only way to get to places on the map faster was via zip lines. and rigging up the world with zip lines is an honest to God Herculean task. And if you don't do that, you're just going to be running everywhere, which sucks. It kind of sucked. I mean, you get like wicked fast towards the end of the game, but it still just sucks. I don't know. Honestly, I'm just kind of salty because they didn't add moon shoes. This was the perfect opportunity to add those stupid fucking moon shoes into a video game, and they missed it. This game plays hard, hot, and heavy into nostalgia, and somehow they missed the moon shoes, which were madly popular during the time period that this game was supposed to be set in. I just wanted to boing boing my little happy ass across the map, and all I got was to wrap this dumpster fire up. Grounded is one hell of an open world survival game. It has the best combat system and progression system in the entire genre. Second place is not even close. I didn't talk a lot about the combat system in this video, but it's actually pretty fucking great. Every bug has a weakness to exploit, and all of their attacks are telegraphed so that you have the opportunity to like perfectly parry it and shit like that. Plus, everything in this game is like super fluid and satisfying animation wise. Everything feels great in this game. The healing, combat, building, resource gathering, for some reason, and I attribute most of it to the animation team. It feels good. And a fluid moment-to-moment gameplay system like that mixed in with there being no grind and with an amazing progression system, a fully open world that is absolutely teeming with life, you get the best open world survival game of all time. That's all I got. This has been Kevin Hart. Subscribe or I'm going to start using hard drugs. I don't have an outro.